Okay, hello everybody. No countdown today because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm Alex, as everybody knows. Next to me is Cheeto. Say hello, Cheeto.
Hi, meat
Alec,
bags.
meat bags. Alec will be with us hopefully in the next 5 to 10 minutes. Hopefully. I think he's out doing animal stuff again. You know him, you know. And an animal cries, and if it's within driving distance, off he goes, which is
I mean,
commendable.
it's a good cause. As
I mean, absolutely, I do not fault him on it.
I am a huge animal. What's the word I'm looking for?
Lover,
Animal. Well,
friend,
yes, but like advocate. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I can't stand mistreatment of. I mean, Alec takes it to a whole nother level, which is great because we need more people like him who actually do these things. For animals, and advocate for animals that can't advocate for themselves. Because
absolutely.
so and human beings that treat animals like absolute crap don't deserve. Trust me. You mistreat your animal or a animal, you lose me. And I mean, unless you're like literally being attacked by the animal, like mistreating an animal is not okay ever. Even leaving it out in the cold, in my opinion. Like,
Nope.
I'm sorry, like. You can't.
Animals get cold. Animals get cold too. See these people that chain up their dogs in the backyard, morning, noon, and night.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Well, and that's the thing. It's like people say, "Oh, well, they're animals. They're supposed to be in the outside," and it's like, no, like no, they've been domesticated. They're not. They're not bred to survive in the winter. The dead of winter. So
yeah, indeed. I mean, there are a couple of dog breeds that would actually enjoy the cold, but not many. So while we wait for Alec, I've been told to get things kicked off. So I don't know. I did suggest a topic in the chat. I don't know if you saw that.
Was that Cisco being a war criminal?
Yes, that's for next time when Big J can actually attend, because
okay.
he's a big Cisco fan. So it would be daft.
DS9 is my favorite, so I'm a huge Cisco fan.
Indeed. I have my own reservations. I'm not saying he's a bad character, just not the best captain that everybody says he is. Because he's
I wouldn't even say he's the best captain. I would just say he's a really good character.
Yeah,
and he's my
absolutely.
favorite captain. But that's a matter of opinion. But anyway.
Exactly. Yeah, he's great character. There's great story arc for him, great development, fantastic. Not the best captain. So the topic that I suggested was Janeway. Well, Tuvix. Did Janeway make the right call? So you have a jack of no trades, Tuvix, who wants to live, but embodied in him is your tactical officer who you need, and a morale officer, and also cook. Now, some people could say, yeah, you could do without Neelix. Fair enough. But they definitely needed Tuvok. So what would be your decision?
I see. I go back and forth on this one because I am not a fan of Janeway. Janeway is not my favorite character, captain, or anything like that. So I always get a kick out of the whole Tuvix thing because everybody usually, they live or die by the Tuvix thing with Janeway. But see, for me, it's more like it's a matter of, okay, this person by happenstance was created. If he was a separate individual person, he is a third entity in this situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
However, he also is two different people. I don't know. I think right or wrong, I think it is a captain's, and we were just saying about Cisco. I think sometimes you have to make those bad calls for the right reasons. And I feel like Janeway's reasons were right. Although I get why you're saying they could live without Neelix. I understand that, and I agree. Yes, it would. As much as people hate Neelix, I don't hate him as much. I'm one of the people who didn't hate Jar Jar Binks. Like, just because you're an annoying character does not mean like I don't like the character at all. You know what I mean? Like, I almost cried on the third to last episode when Neelix was going off with, and then Tuvok did the whole dancing foot thing or whatever. Like, I almost did, because it's like, that was a character moment right there. So circling back around, yes, you could live without Neelix, but should you? And with Tuvok, like, I think Janeway made the best call for where they were and what they were doing. I think it was a no-win scenario. I think it was a Kobayashi Maru for, morality wise. So, yeah, that's kind of it. I mean, I think she made the best call with the situation she was given. I don't think there's really a right or wrong or a just answer for it, honest and truly. Because think about it. Well, just think about it. Technically, you're murdering. Let's do the opposite. If you don't change back Tuvok and Neelix, you are murdering. Or if you don't change Tuvok's back, you are murdering two people. Like, you are murdering two. Whether Tuvix wanted it or not, technically he's a whole third separate entity. You know what I mean? So no matter what, and it's a no-win scenario, and I think Janeway made the right call. So, and I hate to say that because I don't like Janeway for other reasons.
Fair enough. I'm pretty much the same. I mean, I wouldn't say I don't like Janeway. I think she did a reasonable job for the position she was put in. A lot of people fall on she's a murderer. Well, fair enough. But at the end of the day, Tuvix agreed and went, okay, I understand, and submitted to the procedure, as it were, knowing full well that was going to be the end of him. It was still, from memory, somewhat reluctantly, but he still...
I think she basically took him and said, this is happening.
Yeah, this is happening, but he didn't fight it at the end of the day.
No.
I think he understood.
Tuvix would have been a good, like, reoccurring villain, though. That'd have been good.
Oh, could you imagine in an alternate universe? Or hang on a second. Did Tuvix come along before or after the Voyager was shattered into two realities? And spoilers, we lose Kim, and the Kim from the other reality comes over and replaces him.
I don't know.
As well as the Wildman baby. In the undamaged, Naomi. In the undamaged version, she dies. In the version where it's a terribly damaged, she's alive. So he grabs Kim. Well, Kim grabs her and goes over to the
and isn't it by the next episode everything looks good again? Like,
yeah. This is the thing about the episodic nature of Star Trek. Up until a point, everything reset and it all looked nice and crisp and clean, apart from the Year of Hell. But then again, that was only 2 episodes. Those are 2 episodes. Yeah,
that's a whole nother discussion topic I would love to talk. I would like the whole Xindi arc. I would have loved, because that originally was supposed to be the whole season, and Paramount, right? Either Paramount or Berman. So somebody wouldn't sign off on it. I can't remember who, but somebody would not sign off on it.
Probably Berman, because I remember John Eves, renowned Star Trek artist. He designed the Enterprise E. He designed the additions to the Excelsior hull. He also did a whole ream of things for Star Trek, and you should have seen. He had a blog called Eavesdropping with Johnny, and you should have seen the stuff that he was developing for Enterprise and for Voyager. And Berman would go, nope, just take the ship from last week, turn it upside down, paint it black. There you go. He stifled creativity. So I would not be surprised if he's the one that went, nah, no, we're not doing a full season of just one story arc.
Yeah. I know, and that's one of the things that I loved about Enterprise and Deep Space Nine is that overarching storytelling. Like when season 3 of Enterprise, like season 3 and 4, was just, I thought it was grade A Trek. Like I think the Xindi arc was good. I think it lasted a little bit longer than it should have, but I still think it was good. And then in season 4, when it was like kind of like these 2 to 3 episode arcs, I think that was also very well done. But yeah. No, and I mean, you got a comment here from Stephen Ross talking about Cisco destroyed a planetary ecosystem and is an accomplice to the murder of everyone on the Vernac transport. Well, this is true, but I mean, the ecosystem had it coming. It was housing Maquis.
Yeah, and look who has arrived. Yeah.
Yes, another day of animal rescue.
I thought it would be animals.
You think I had nothing better to do than rescue animals?
I thought it would be animals. Hey, even when I was over there and we were busy doing things, Alec got a call from someone that 2 or 3 cats needed picked up urgently, and middle of the night, that's where we went. Me and Toll. Yeah. It just had to be done.
Mm-hmm.
And the poor little things were.
But don't tell the haters that, because they think it's all a fraud.
Oh yeah, which must mean that my recollections are fraudulent as well. Then clearly,
what they did is they put you through the transporter buffer a couple times to make you think that's what you were doing.
All right.
So this is Sentai Ranger Donnie says this is the 15th anniversary of Star Trek 2009, I guess. Huh. That is
goodness.
That I actually got to go to the red carpet premiere of that. My one and only Hollywood red carpet. It was because my good friend's partner is one of the biggest directors in Hollywood, and he got invited, and they were like, "We're not going. It's Star Trek." So he's like, "Alec, you want to go?" I was like, "Hell yeah!" So I was with Damaris at the time, the mother of my godsons, and we went down, and we had a jolly good time. It was awesome. We had a great time, and it was and it was impressive. It was impressive then, and
I went to see it in the IMAX. In an
IMAX, I saw it in IMAX too
near me, and it seemed like the thing to do. And having it in that big screen. I mean, it wasn't Star Trek as we knew it. To be fair, but I heard the lines in there that it's an alternate universe, and I went, yeah, fine, I'm good with it.
Right? Yeah.
It took me a little while to get on board with the alternate universe part, but I got it. No, you know what the thing that blew me away about that movie was Carl Urban's bones. Hank.
Oh yeah,
not Hank. Dude,
yes.
Like I went into that movie. I almost called him Hank McCoy, which is Beast from X-Men. Leonard McCoy was like I was like, I saw this guy and I knew him from the Bourne. What is it? The Bourne Supremacy was the second one. I knew him from that, and then also from Lord of the Rings. And I'm like, there's no way this guy is Bones. There's no way. The first time I saw him walk on that transport and start in Star Trek 2009, I said, I'm sold.
There's nothing he can't do.
Carl
seriously. Urban is he is a chameleon.
He's a great actor,
and if you haven't seen the 2012 Dread, you need to see the 2012 Dread.
He refused.
Yeah, there was something on Facebook today about that Carl Urban was in character like the whole time, like wouldn't take off his helmet, wouldn't break character. And
I was just gonna say that, like, he refused to take his helmet off, like, because he was like in it.
He was
in the zone.
Yeah. So which is interesting. Listen, I'm not. Who am I to critique his method? God bless him.
But I loved his bones, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, but his bones. I met Carl Urban at a party, a Hollywood party my buddy put on, and my buddy introduced me to him.
Oh, you lucky soul.
And I told him, I said, dude, it's a Star Trek fan. And I said, your bones was awesome.
And that was what I was going in most negative about. Even more so than as what's his face as Scotty. Who was Scotty? Why am I?
Simon Pegg.
Simon Pegg.
Simon Pegg.
Even Simon Pegg as Scotty. I was like, I don't know about that. And then it just all worked. It just all worked. And Carl Urban just.
I hear a lot of people criticize his Scottish accent, but his wife is Glaswegian, as far as I'm aware. Well, she's from some region of Scotland, and she coached him, and it's actually, to my ear, it's a much better accent than Doohan's.
Well, what do you know? You're only Scottish. I mean, come on, get out of here.
Doohan's, I've heard a lot of people say he's nowhere near as good as Doohan's Scotty. I'm like, bullshit. Doohan's Scotty is a comedy act.
Oh, I like Doohan's Scotty.
I mean, at the end of the day, hey, he's the original Scotty. He was fantastic all in all, but the accent.
No.
Okay.
No. Well, it's TV. Listen, it was TV almost 60 years ago. So
absolutely.
What did anyone? No one knew. Yep. No one knew back then.
I will not have people tell me that Doohan's accent was better than Pegg's when Pegg was coached by an actual Scots woman.
Yeah, I actually enjoyed Simon Pegg's Scotty.
So did I.
I was skeptical about it going in, even more. But as I said, even more so than Carl Urban was the one. I'm like, there's no way in heck they're pulling that off. I said I like Carl Urban, but I'm like, there's no way they're pulling that off. And then, just as I said, I was 1,000% wrong. It was my favorite part of the movie.
The thing about that movie and that series of movies, let's say, is not the actors, and it's not the characters. You have to accept that it's a very different James Kirk. Spock is, I think Zachary Quinto did an acceptable job as Spock. I don't think it was anything. I don't think it was anything earth-shaking, but I thought he did a fine job. I happen to prefer Ethan Peck's Spock to Zachary Quinto's. And everyone, I thought everyone was good. I thought it was interesting the way they took Aurora, and it was it. I thought all the actors did a fine job. I thought that wasn't the problem. Characters weren't the problem. Actors weren't the problem. It was story. Ultimately that was the problem.
Actually, I really didn't. In 2009, I didn't mind the story. I didn't think it was that bad. It was nice to finally see the Romulans doing something other than blowing up their own Senate.
Yeah. So
I got in a heated debate in a podcast of on the 10th anniversary or something like that of 2009, and someone was saying that it's not Kirk. And I went, well, no, it is Kirk. It says so in this film.
It's just a different Kirk.
It's a different Kirk. Yeah, why does he have to be so different? Because his dad died. Oh, what does that mean? Do you mean his mother couldn't have nurtured him? No, his dad was in Starfleet and was his inspiration. So he wanted to be like or better than his dad. He didn't have that. His dad died without him ever knowing it. So he didn't have that force to focus him and go forth and be Kirk.
And he also developed blue eyes because of that,
Hey, it's an alternate universe. It was the radiation from the Romulan weapons or something.
Yeah,
like that.
There you go. I like that.
Go.
There you go. I like
wobbly,
that.
timey-wimey.
Well, that as far as that movie goes, there's a lot that I don't like about it, but there's also a lot I do like about it. I mean, Bruce Greenwood is great at, as April, and that whole scene in the bar where he comes in is just. That's a great scene. And,
you're talking about Pike.
Bruce Pike. I'm sorry, I said
yeah.
Pike. Pike. I mean, that's a great scene. Your father saved 400 lives.
Absolutely.
I mean, that was just that's great writing, and Greenwood pulls it off brilliantly, and that's a really, yes, it's a different Kirk because he doesn't have a father, which also builds a relationship with Pike that they. That they take through the next movie, but also that that scene is the replacement, right? That he's giving Kirk the motivation he didn't have because of his father. So I like it. There was a lot of other stuff I didn't like in that movie, but there was some stuff that I did like. Obviously, I loved Ferran Tahir as Commander Captain Rabaut. He was brilliant, and
very short piece, but fantastic, executed fantastically. No pun intended there.
Yeah, and it was it was nice to see a captain that we could believe was Starfleet, since so often we see captains who are just are bad because they have to make Kirk look good or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Plot convenient, bad captain.
Right. Which we didn't basically when we got to Star Trek: The Next Generation. There's Gus. When we got to Star Trek: The Next Generation, you started to see captains that you wanted to see, right? They never gave them a lot of screen time, but whether it was in Conspiracy with like Twyla Scott, like wow, there was an interesting captain. Or Grix, who was the blue alien?
He was a Bolian, wasn't he?
I think he was a Bolian, right? Wasn't that the first Bolian we saw?
And played by that renowned actor.
Character
actor. He's been in everything in the 80s,
right? And that was like, oh, I want to see those captains, right?
Yeah,
so we started to see other captains who were interesting and but they never played those captains out, right?
No, even Captain DeSoto, we only see him very shortly, very small on a screen. Which one was
DeSoto?
He was captaining one of the Excelsior class ships. I can't remember now. But he dropped someone off on the Enterprise D, and he seemed quite a likable character. Then you've also got what's his face? Bob Gunton played him. The Wounded.
The Wounded,
I only just saw it the other day, and I can't remember his the character's name now.
No, it was a good character, right?
Very good. And then, what's his name? Never mind. I'm sure everybody knows who I'm talking about. And then the controversial guy, Jellicoe. Some people say he was a great captain. Other people saying no, he was a terrible captain. I kind of lean to he was terrible because, like Riker said, he's sapped all the fun out of it and didn't inspire.
It was
really inspire his
interesting.
crew to trust him.
Yesterday I was listening to a video on leadership, and it was using Ted Lasso as like examples of leadership from Ted Lasso. It was an interesting video on YouTube. But it was talking about a lot of things that, you study in coaching, that I've studied in coaching, and aspirational things that, things that Simon Sinek will talk about. And one of the things is, is how great leaders make the people around them feel part of the process, right? And certainly Jellicoe was not that way. Jellicoe was like my way or the highway. Whereas, whereas a good leader is always going to, this is why every scene of Picard in the ready room with his command staff is reinforcing that he's a good leader. He sits everyone down and gets everyone's opinion and then says, okay, this is what we're going to do. Right. Or, okay, Jordy, you think you can do that? Go do that. Right. There's a lot of great leadership in the way Picard runs things. And Jellicoe had none of that.
No.
I think it's a pretty easy argument that you can make that he's not a good captain. You could make the argument that he was a good captain at that time for that situation. You certainly could make that. And I really think that now you're getting this is a deep cut, and it is what makes a great captain for a great situation, right? If you remember in one of my favorite movies, Midway, when Halsey is laid up before the Battle of Midway, and he chooses Fletcher to be his replacement. Fletcher or Spruance? What was it? The Glenn Ford character.
I want to say Spruance.
It was probably Spruance because he was a destroyer captain and
yeah,
or cruiser captain, and he's like, "Whoa, why are you choosing me? I'm just a cruiser captain. I've been chasing you guys around the ocean." And he says, "Anyone who can chase me and my ships around the ocean is good enough to lead them," right? So it's interesting to understand why people choose certain people for certain situations.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Starfleet chose Jellicoe because they felt they needed, with the Cardassians in this situation, they wanted to play out a certain way, and they felt that Jellicoe gave them the best chance for it to work out that way. Right?
Absolutely. No, that's an argument a lot of people have actually pointed out, and makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
no argument there
and now
whatsoever.
I know Jellicoe plays in Prodigy, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm. For a very little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I've heard.
And I gotta say,
I wouldn't say he's a bad admiral in it. I would just say he's more like, him and Janeway butt heads once or twice in the series, But I mean, I like to say, like, once you get promoted past captain and past captain in Starfleet, you have to trade in your common sense for a pip. So I did they kind of start, I always want to say Jellicoe. I think he's just not good people skills. You know what I mean?
Right.
Right. Yeah. Right. That's exactly it. He might be a good commander, but he's not a good people manager.
Right. Yeah. Well, also Jellicoe, by the way, was one of the admirals in the Battle of Jutland. That's where his name came from. Who threw
cruisers up against battleships, watched them blow up and go, that's a bit odd. Why are they blowing up? Well, that's because you're sending them against battleships.
Jutland was probably the last great warship battle. It's interesting. Things like that make you know that there's certain people on the writing team who are military history buffs.
They know what they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Found out the name of the Phoenix. It's Captain Benjamin Maxwell.
There you go. Yeah,
Maxwell. Yeah, that's the one. Again, probably a PTSD.
Right. Absolutely.
Probably
the
PTSD.
Absolutely got PTSD.
Yeah, and that's made him. That's also made him then a little bit wary of the Cardassians. But I do like how Picard right at the end kind of backs him up a little.
Oh saying, exactly. That was a great episode. That was a really,
fantastic
really good
episode.
Yeah. Also, it was the first iteration of the Nebula class. Right.
Indeed. Absolutely. Yeah.
I like it as much as the true Nebula class, but it was nonetheless that was. But no, I thought that was a good episode on a lot of counts. So,
well, and I mean, those are the kind of episodes that are more Cold War-ish, like that are really good Cold War, like, was it Errand of Mercy from the original series? Why am I forgetting the name of the one with the Romulan where they were playing submarine tactics?
Balance of Terror.
Balance of Terror.
Balance of Terror, yes. So with Balance of Terror, like with like Balance of Terror is more like, submarine combat, but like in that episode, it was more like Cold War diplomacy, and that's what Next Gen did perfectly. You know what I mean? So that's why those episodes were so good, because they just leaned right into that like Cold War, type of diplomacy where they have to kind of tit for tat each other, but yet not cross that line.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with you. Yeah. It was interesting. They were. I was watching. There's a channel that has all the. They took all the special features from the different Star Trek Blu-rays and just edited them all together into video on YouTube you can watch. And I watched the Star Trek 3 one the other day. And I just watched all the, and which is great. You get all the behind the scenes stuff. It's awesome. And then I watched yesterday, this Star Trek 2 one popped on. YouTube just throws straight up on for you. And so I started watching that.
It's 2 hours long, if I remember correctly, because I'm sure I've seen that pop up.
Yeah, and it's because it's like 6 different featurettes.
Mm-hmm.
The one with James Horner is awesome.
I only got as far as the first
James
one.
Horner. They have another one with Ricardo Montalban, which is awesome because he tells you about how, about why he wanted to do the character again, and then how he got back into it, and he watched the episode and then started realizing, oh yeah, I remember what I was doing. He felt he was too much in Mr. Rourke because it was after season 6 of Fantasy Island. So he wanted to do a movie to just do something different, but he felt like he was reading the script and it read like Mr. Rourke. But it was really interesting to see Ricardo Montalban talk about it. And then as I'm watching it, I'm working, right? So it's background. And all of a sudden I hear my voice and I go, what the fuck? And I look up and I forgot that I have a featurette on the Star Trek II, the Wrath of Khan Blu-ray. All about collecting Star Trek props. Because back then, this was 2009, right around 2009, I think, 2010 maybe. I was working with CBS and an official licensee, so they did a featurette, and to this day, I am still on the Star Trek II, the Wrath of Khan Blu-ray. And what do you got there? My cat.
Oh, I bet there's a certain Facebook group that doesn't like that.
Oh yeah, they'll probably complain about that. So anyway, that was fun. But everyone should watch it because it's really interesting to see the different aspects of the behind the scenes stuff. It's really good stuff.
Yeah, Star Trek 3. I that's honestly, I like that one more than I like some other ones. You know what I mean? Like, Star Trek 6 is probably my favorite TOS movie. I would say Star Trek 3 is probably like my second favorite.
Not Star Trek 2?
No. Like, I'm not saying I don't like it, and I'm not saying it's not good, but for me, yeah. I like the pacing and the, just like the hijack, hijinks of the hijinks of the Enterprise, and like this was before it was done like to death in Star Trek. You know what I mean? Like, and then the Excelsior was a big sham wow like vessel, and I love the Excelsior. Even though it got nerfed in it, but I would have loved to have seen like at least some kind of little chase between the two, between the Excelsior and the Enterprise. But I don't know. For me, Star Trek 3 was actually, I enjoy watching Star Trek 3 more than I enjoy watching Star Trek 2. As I said, I'm not saying one's better than the other. I'm just saying my preference is Star Trek 3. And plus, you've got big tragedy in that one with, with Kirk's son and all that, these established characters from Star Trek 2, when they actually went there, they took big swings with that movie and killing Kirk's son. Spoiler alert for a 40, 50-year-old movie, but it just, and Christopher Lloyd as a Klingon, like he kind of reminds me of Chang, and he wasn't your typical Klingon, but he was a little bit more Klingon than Chang was.
It's interesting to hear Christopher Lloyd talk about playing a
Klingon.
A Klingon, yeah. Well, what's his name?
What was his name?
Krug,
yeah.
Krug, yeah.
Krug.
Yeah, it was really interesting. And then it was interesting. Was it Robin Curtis who Robin Curtis is talking about? The funny thing she was talking about was the scene where he has to speak into the Klingon communicator and say, "Beam me up." and he's holding it out. He's trying to be big, and he's like, "Beam me up!" And she's like, "No, into the communicator." The director's like, "Into the communicator," and he's like, "I saw that. Okay, okay." Beam me up!
Like, I saw that thing. I saw that same featurette at the weekend.
Right? It's great. It's so funny.
It also pointed out something that I hadn't realized. Star Trek 3 has no exterior filming, no exterior shots. Everything is soundstage.
Oh yeah, that was really And that was.
I'm like, wow! I hadn't noticed that. I hadn't realized.
Well, yeah, it was interesting in Star Trek 2 also. They show you how they did the SETI Alpha that was interesting too. So yeah. So yeah, let's see.
Yeah,
Just looking at...
three is a good film.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't.
it's a
I
fine film.
well,
Listen,
and that's
I
why
think
when
Five's
everybody
a fine
says,
film.
well, that's why when everyone says the even ones, are not good. It's like
2, 4, and 6 are the best, no doubt. One appeals to a certain type of hardcore fan, and 3 and 5 I think are both fine. Listen, 5 gets shit on all the time, and I think it's a fine film.
So do I. It's got some brilliant moments in it.
It's a great moments.
Like the jailbreak, the Morse code. What you're standing around there. Do you not see in the jailbreak?
And I love Sybok. I absolutely. I cannot wait for him to come into Star Trek: Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, and then of course, Scotty's "I know the ship like the back of my hand." Clonk.
Yeah.
It's got some great moments in it.
Yeah,
Kirk was shafted, though. Sorry, not Kirk. Shatner was shafted by an overbearing studio, and obviously ILM being on strike. I think they were at the time, or they were too busy. I can't remember what the story was. So he had to use another effects house, and hence the effects are not very good.
Yeah,
he's actually wanted to go back and recut it, and the studio's gone no.
Yeah,
no.
Now listen, Lawrence Luckinbill as Sybok,
brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
He's one of the best guest stars. I mean, he is Ricardo Montalban good. Like when you think of the great think of the great of all the movies. Did you sneeze?
Yeah, I think so.
I really feel like Sybok should not have been his half brother. But I think that really is what gets on my nerves about Sybok.
Yeah, just like with Burnham.
Yeah, just like with Burnham, I agree. Like Sybok could have been maybe like a competitor of his in school or something, or somebody who bullied him all the time because he's half human.
Yeah, right.
That would have been better, because then that would have introduced a more believable rivalry between the two.
Then you could have was Spock a disciple or not a disciple? Why did they have a falling out? Like maybe they were friends and they had a falling out. There were a lot of great things that making him a half brother did nothing for that story.
Yeah, it really didn't. And that's what, as I said, I really thought he was a good character and the actor, and he did a great job with the part. But the whole brother thing is, and then they went back to the well in Discovery, and I'm like, oh my god, I was so very sad about that.
By the way,
I don't have a problem with Burnham. I don't have a problem with the character of Burnham. I have a problem with the way she is written and the whole adopted sibling thing. Other than that, I don't have a problem with Burnham.
Let me tell you here's the other thing. Do you know who Lawrence Luckinbill is married to?
I did know the answer to that, but I can't remember now.
I don't
Lucy
know.
Arnaz, the daughter of Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz.
Oh,
yeah. So, direct connection to Star Trek royalty there.
Mm-hmm.
You need to get a graphic. The more you know, and then put it up every time you.
There you go.
With an Enterprise, an Enterprise going across the screen instead of the star.
Yep. Desi Arnaz's daughter. So, so I guess wasn't there a word that they approached Sean Connery to be Sybok, and he said no?
I think so.
I'm sure I read something about that once.
I know they've approached Sean Connery about something, and Sybok sounds about right, because I don't in that time, because didn't he not take it because he was doing Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade? Was that?
I think so. Yeah.
Was that the same time frame?
No.
Yeah, no, I don't.
It doesn't seem like it would be the same time frame.
I think they're I think they're a couple of years apart.
Yeah. So that might be not me, but I swear it was he didn't want to do it because he was engaged. Maybe it was when did The Rock come out? No. When did Star Trek 5 come out? Hold on.
He did
I gotta figure this out now.
He did Outland, and that horrible film where he's just running around in a leather outfit where that you can see all. I can't remember what it's.
Zardoz.
Yeah, so he probably
Zardoz was like early 70s.
No. What I'm trying to say is, I think maybe he said he didn't want to do sci-fi again, something like that. Maybe that was his reasoning.
Yeah. So it was Star Trek V, which ultimately turned down in favor of other commitments. Connery was best known. Well, I don't care what he's best known for, but I don't know.
So it was
it doesn't say what the project was. Maybe it was Hunt for Red October. I'm just kind of reading through this article here, but it does say he was approached about Cybok and he couldn't because of other obligations. So it would have been 1988 because the film released in 1989.
Yeah, which is around the time of The Last Crusade.
So it might have been The Last Crusade. So
yeah, might well have been. Well, I think you made a good choice there.
Interesting, Zamir, should point that out. The Outland sets reused a lot of stuff used in Alien, apparently. Eagle-eyed viewers can see it. Some of the paneling and stuff like that on the set is from Alien. But I don't know if it's meant to be set in the Alien universe, but it was definitely filmed in the same studio. So
that's interesting. That's interesting. By the way, has anyone asked about Axanar yet?
Not yet. No.
Not yet.
Well, we'll tell you.
Listen, you told
this year since
you told them the summer. So I mean, they're patiently waiting, right, guys? Right? You're patiently waiting.
Yep. I got the first VFX shot. Finished VFX shot, and I was like,
Brian Simpson says, "What's Axanar?"
Sign up for the newsletter if you already haven't signed up, and you'll know everything that there is to know.
Yep. Make sure you sign up for the newsletter, which is down below. What's up? What did JP diss us today? What's up with that?
He's got.
What's that?
He had some sort of other commitment. I think he doesn't love us anymore. Basically, doesn't love us anymore.
What's more important than Star Trek?
I heard that if there was no Axanar announcements, he wasn't going to be here. Is what I heard. So.
Or he's out digging for the latest information on the Orville. That's probably
yeah.
He's like up to Seth MacFarlane's like window with a can.
He's schmoozing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so Axanar will be out later this year.
Yeah, the two assemblies that I saw are fantastic. Even without the VFX, they're very compelling.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
There's definitely a few holy shit moments that will make you go, wow.
And as I've said before, and I'll say again, is first of all, we have 19. There's 19 actors in this, right? So it's not like Prelude, which was only 6, right? We've got a good sized cast, and when you watch it, because it's 30 minutes long, when you watch it, there are no slackers in it. I mean, I keep saying I'm the worst guy in that film, but boy, everyone and people that you haven't heard of are spectacular, just absolutely fantastic. Raj Kala as Commodore Singh and Tina Ari as our Vulcan Captain. I mean, just great performances, just great. People are gonna love it. People are just gonna love it. It's gonna be awesome. Axanar audio drama. Dana is just getting back to work on that. He and I need to follow up. We're following up on the script and that. So yeah. So I don't know. We're working on it. We're working on it, Dale. By the way, Dale, I'll see you tomorrow morning for our TNR adventure. Dale and I have to get some cats spayed tomorrow morning.
Ooh, bring your sharp scissors.
We don't do it. We just transport them. Jeez.
But wouldn't that save you some time?
God,
be a bit.
I've got. I went down to the rescue food bank, and we loaded up on cat food and litter and all these things that the food bank makes rescue actually manageable, because we've got 4 foster volunteers who work with us, and who each have half a dozen kittens probably, and you go through a lot of litter and a lot of food, and it gets expensive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, the food bank charges us like peanuts. We're paying a fraction of what we would be paying. I mean, we don't even pay wholesale. We pay a fraction of wholesale. And they just got in a truck from yesterday from Chewy, with all like whenever anything gets returned to Chewy, or anytime Chewy gets like a bag opens or there's a can missing out of 12, whatever, it gets put aside and donated. And this isn't the only food bank. I'm sure they're all over the country. And so they send a truck down, and the lady who runs the rescue food bank just pays for the shipping. There's no charge for it. It's like, and it comes out to a fraction, and she charges by the pound. So whatever the truck is, we pay X per pound, and so it makes it. So my car I just dropped off like 300 pounds of cat litter, and it was probably more than that. It was probably almost 400 pounds of cat litter. So my car was like bottoming out in the rear, and I've got like 200 pounds of cat food in the back right now. So after this I gotta run down and empty out the car. So anyway, there you go. There's our little cat rescue story. So there you go. Hello, one Sean Bond. It's nice to see you. God, now we're talking. What is this? The Sci-Fi Channel? We're talking about wrestling.
I have not watched wrestling since.
I've never watched wrestling.
93.
Wow. Yeah, I've never watched wrestling.
WrestleMania 93, I think, was the last time I watched wrestling, and then Trek kind of took over.
Oh, well, very cool.
Well,
thank you. That's nice. Everyone always spread the word. And someone asked. And Icarus Maneuver will be back online next week, probably.
Oh yeah, that's really really good news.
There are people working on it.
Our channel over at NerdTube, we actually do a lot of wrestling content just because we've got a bunch of fans over there. So yeah,
and why not? That's good for you. Yeah.
I mean, hey, as I said, the 2 things that actually really trend well on our channel is Star Trek and wrestling. It's like polar opposites, but
wrestling still has a big following.
Oh yeah,
a massive following. I mean, what WrestleMania number are they on now?
They just did 40.
My goodness, I feel old.
Yeah, I got news for you. You are old. How's the kid doing, by the way?
He is now my birth weight, 7.11 pounds.
Oh wow!
So he's doing well, doing very, very well. He's just lying there in his cot, going, "What was all the fuss about?"
Brian, he wasn't on TNG. He was on Voyager.
Yes, he was.
He was on Voyager. He played. And you know what? I've actually watched that episode recently, and you know what? Some things you think you remember as cringe actually wasn't as bad as you remember it. Actually, there was a pretty good fight scene between Seven and.
It was a good episode.
Yeah, it was a really good episode. I just remember it being cringe, but I hadn't watched it in years. I'm talking like maybe in my 20s. And I'm like,
it wasn't the best
now,
episode. It wasn't the best
episode,
but it was okay. I don't have a.
Well,
and of course, the Rock got his eyebrow raise in it.
He actually didn't want to do that in that episode. He actually did not want. He wanted to distance himself from the wrestling aspect of it. So he didn't want to do the eyebrow in the episode, but they made him because they're like, no, people will affiliate you with your character in wrestling. And I'm like, he's like, I really just don't want to do it. But they're like, no, you're gonna do the eyebrow, you're gonna do the rock bottom, which he did do his signature move on Seven in the episode. So he was like, I don't want to do any of that. I just want to.
This is why we hired you.
Well, they might as well have done a time travel episode, maybe gone back to a WWF event back in, 1997.
Back when it was WWF, yes.
Yeah.
My goodness.
And then have them
Federation.
You and I have the same chair at the office. You have the Captain America chair?
Yeah. Hold on.
Yep. I got the same one at the office.
Oh, I love this chair. I've had it for 2 years, 3 years now.
Yeah.
Starting a little wear on the butt, the butt seat now. It's starting to look like my butt. So.
Gotcha. Yeah. Any new pop figures in the back there?
No, I haven't really. No, not really. I'm kind of starting to look into the X-Men 97 ones. I might start picking some of those up just because I'm loving that show so much.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, X-Men 97 is knocking it out of the park.
Really?
Like for people who grew up with the X-Men animated series. I mean,
see, I never did, so I probably.
No, it's really doing a good job, and I mean, it's good. Like it's not like kiddie anymore. Like they gradually, like throughout the first like 4 or 5 episodes, I would say they started aging the show up, and then episode 5 hit, and they're just like, okay, you are now adults, and we are treating you like adults, and they go all in on it, and it's really good.
Interesting. Okay, maybe I'll have to check it out. That and Prodigy. I definitely got to watch Prodigy.
Yeah, Prodigy. Yeah, I
tried watching that, and I just couldn't get past it's a kids show, and I just couldn't get past the characters' voices, and they're aimed at kids. I'm like,
well, I just couldn't get past Doll. I couldn't stand Doll. I really couldn't.
Who's that? Which one's that?
Oh, that's the cat, the main kid, the purple one.
Yeah, I couldn't stand him either.
And everyone's like, oh well, that's his character. No, he really, like, maybe in the last episode he has some character growth, but other than that, it's mostly just him being the cringe teenage. But yeah, no, I watched all of it because we did reviews on NerdTube for it, but it was like, for me, it was rough. Zam, my cohort in arms, Zam, he enjoyed it much more than I did. And I'm not even saying it's not Trek. Like, people usually accuse me of saying, oh, you think Prodigy isn't Trek. And I say, no, it's not that I'm saying it's not Trek. I'm just saying I just didn't enjoy it. Like, Star Trek 3 is one of my favorites. I know that I'm in the minority in that. I know that, it's usually further down on the list than for most people. But I'm okay with that because it's my opinion. And you know what? Whatever.
Right.
That's fair enough. No, I've never heard you say you hate it and that it's not Trek. You just don't like it.
Yeah.
Same here. I mean, I won't say I hate Lower Decks. I just don't see it as funny as a lot of people seem to make it out to be. I mean, I've watched every episode that's been available, and I must have belly laughed 3 or 4 times. That's it. But I wouldn't say it's not Trek. I wouldn't say I hate it. I love the little lore parts, the little bits in the background that you've got, like the guy holding the Spock helmet when they're ripping the ship apart looking for something. The people who do it, they know their stuff, and I like how they put all that in, and that's more for us older Star Trek fans who know everything about Star Trek and can spot these little Easter eggs and stuff like that. And I love that they do that. I just don't like the Rick and Morty style characters.
Yeah, see, I love it, but I mean, I get it. No, I get why people. I had somebody actually ask me not too long ago, say, "Oh, well, I'm going to watch Star Trek, New Trek." They've never watched New Trek. They've watched some of the old stuff, but they're just like, "Oh, well, should I start with Lower Decks?" And I say, maybe not start with Lower Decks, but like, if you know old Trek, and they're like, well, I've watched it once, and I'm like, okay, well, you may want to, there's a lot of references in there. Lower Decks may not be your cup of tea if you're like not a hardcore fan, and I get that. Like, I get that it's not for, like, just like Prodigy's not for every fan, Lower Decks is not for every fan, but that's the beauty of Star Trek right now, is that we've got so much at our fingertips, that we can keep going with it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we definitely have a lot more Trek being developed now than we ever had at any one point. So who knows? I see a lot of people shitting on Star Trek, Starfleet Academy already, even though we don't know anything about it yet.
I don't even think they filmed an episode, right? Like, I mean, I know they're in pre-production, but
apparently they're filming or something. But at the end of the day, nothing is known about it yet publicly. So how can you shit on something that you know nothing about?
I think it's only because it's technically a spin-off of Discovery. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, okay, yeah.
That's the only thing they're basing it off of.
Well, also, one, it's a spin-off of Discovery. It's taking place in a time frame that no one really cares about. I would argue.
Actually, I care about it. I actually like the 32nd century. I would love for them to expand it.
Okay. Well, again, fair enough. But I think that the real challenge is you had the opportunity to do Star Trek Legacy, and instead you're doing something that no one's asked for. No one's asked for Starfleet Academy. That's not like on the top of everyone's mind.
I did.
Legacy is. Oh, like before they came out with the idea of Star Trek, of Starfleet Academy.
I've said for years, you can ask Zam in the chat. Zam, how long have I been saying that I wanted a Starfleet Academy show? Now, granted, I didn't say that I wanted it in the 32nd century. I actually thought I would want it more in like the like the 24th, like 24th century time frame, like right around, either before the end of Next Gen or maybe like just after Nemesis, maybe. I don't know, like somewhere in that time frame.
That would be interesting.
But yeah, that's what I want. I was a huge fan of the Starfleet Academy game on PC back in the 90s. That's what makes me think I want a show based on this. I don't want the teen drama so much, but I do want that, you spend 3 years with all of these cadets,
I think a lot of people are worried that it's just going to be 90210 in space.
Yeah, I hope not.
But that's probably the reason why they shifted Tilly to Starfleet Academy. Yes, spoilers if you've not watched any episodes of season 5 of Discovery. She is temporarily seconded to the Discovery as a mission specialist kind of person, whatever. But she's been moved to the Academy, and I'm guessing she'll be in Star Trek Academy.
She's supposed to be the front runner.
As an instructor, and I kind of like that idea. I like Tilly. I wouldn't say I love the character, but she has her qualities. She's a lot more likable than Burnham. I'll go out on the limb and say that right now.
I don't know if she's going to be a good figurehead of a show. I like Tilly.
Yes.
So I don't know if she's going to be a good figurehead is my only concern. Like I don't mind the character so much, but I liked her with the ensemble of the Discovery crew.
Yeah, more a supporting character.
Yeah.
It's like Jack Sparrow, really good supporting character in Pirates of the Caribbean. Not so good as the main character.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of similar in that kind of thing. Alec, you're just sitting there, just face in hand. What's up?
No, I'm just reading everyone's comments.
Fair enough.
What people are saying. In answer to Brian Simpson, I did see the final episode of Shogun. It was awesome.
I started watching it with my friend. Okay, yeah. I mean, the cast is brilliant. I just don't go into this hyper Japanese. All the T's must be crossed, all the I's dotted.
That's what's fascinating about it. It's so different.
Yeah, but we've seen this in umpteen films and TV series. I don't need to see it all again. Can we have something a little bit more relaxed, please?
Well, there's other shows for that.
But hey, my friend eats all that up. He's a Japanese aficionado. He loves everything.
I loved it,
especially that era of Japan. He's absolutely fascinated by it. So he's loving Shogun.
Yep. Yeah, I like it. Well, listen, that brings us to the top of the hour. Want to thank everyone for coming out tonight, and want to thank Alexander and Cheeto. Thank you both for showing up tonight. We'll continue Trek After Dark every Wednesday at 7:00 Eastern time, so stay tuned. Hopefully, we'll get back on track with some Axanar Confidential also, especially as we have the VFX and we're in post-production, so stay tuned for that. Anyway, any final thoughts from either of you gentlemen?
Nope. Thanks for having me as per usual.
Always happy to have you, and we'll have to admonish JP about his absence.
No cookies for him.
No,
no cookies.
Yeah, definitely no cookies.
I mean, Big J has a really good excuse. No reason. It's not an excuse. It's a reason. It's family. Come on, family comes first.
Yeah, family.
Yeah,
family schmamly.
Yeah, right.
All right, everyone. Live long and prosper, my friends.
Peace
We'll see
and
you guys
life.
soon. Cheers.